All right, check 1, 2. How's everybody doing? Oh man, we lost some people already. Jeez, no patience. Patience is a virtue. Just getting things set up here. 2 more seconds. Hey, buddy. The corgi is asking for some treats. There you go. And the corgi gets what the corgi wants. Let me undo the loading screen. Wah! There we are. Oh my god. And I'm going to be doing some munching while I work, so you'll be getting some ZBrush ASMR. Food ASMR. I don't get that. So weird. So weird. People are weird. We're all weird. Welcome. How's everybody doing? Me first. Nice. I always got somebody out there is like first. Sorry, 2 more seconds here. And so we go. All right. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them, and I will ignore them. No, I'm just kidding. I'll get to them, and if I don't, forgive me, but I will do my best. I'm usually pretty good about that. I'm trying to balance it out. I think I almost spent too much time in the chat, maybe, and I need to spend a little more time in the sculpting. Oh. All right, one more, buddy. Hey, chill. There you go. All right. I have a corgi off camera for those wondering what's going on. What are those weird noises? It's my digestion. Anyway, I know. Ridiculous. Holy spit, dude. It's so fresh. Alrighty. So what's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? I'm having like brunch over here. No more. Lay down. Go eat your food. Go eat your real food. No more treats. It's gonna get fat. Of course, that's what we're all doing now during quarantine, right? We're all just putting on some weight. I'm trying to get back into working out, and I'm slowly doing it every day. A few more pull-ups, a few more push-ups, a few more presses. I injured my leg a little while ago, and still recuperating. So that's always fun. Not. How do I turn that off? I forgot how I turn that on. Shoot. See, I remember how to turn off these lines when you turn on the grid in all 3 ways. There's a way to turn them on and off, and I never do that. And it automatically turns them on when you turn on the when you turn on snapshots for all 3 sides. Leo, on that alone, I want this. Oh, gotcha, you're Leo, so you want the line. Got it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, this would have been essentially what a moment in the scene would have looked like if I would have been able to implement my design for the movie, but there was no time, sadly, so yeah. Heavy workout. Nice. Yeah, I think we all need to be working out heavier, right? I mean, it's just wise. I've been opening up, if you don't know if anyone saw, but like at the beginning of the opening card to this was welcome to the party, pal. Before that it was yippee-ki-yay, mother ZBrushers. I don't know, I've been on this diehard kick lately. It's just phrases and Bruce Willis isms. I'm thinking maybe we all have to become a little bit more like John McClane if society keeps going the way it's going. It's insane. Living in crazy times. What brush is what? What I'm using right now is just the form brush. So it just gently builds up, but retains the shapes or, you know, details that were underlined before you started brushing. It's sort of like a combination between inflate and standard with some other modifiers applied, I think. That, and then just smoothing. Yeah, the form's soft. I'm wondering if I should do some of this. Some of the Sculptris Pro. That's kind of ideal for this sort of thing, I think. I'm also going to be doing something fun here. I forgot to start it up at the beginning. Something a little different. Opening up KeyShot, and let me just find the right one. Pardon me. This should, I think if I'm doing this right. I haven't used KeyShot in a while, like a long while actually, because I've just been doing so much work for either handoff for animation or 3D printing. So either way, it doesn't require me to render anything for anybody really. So, but here is a cool little thing I think I'm going to start doing, which is I'll give you guys some real-time updates here with the rendering, just how it looks like. So this is my setup for what I want it to look like in real life. Similar. I mean, you know, I'll be sticking in LEDs so the eyes will light up, but then also we'll have I think I'm going to create some negative cavities in here, and maybe also in the clear part below it, so that you'll have like lightning bolts kind of passing through, and they'll be on I have these LEDs with a little controller already, a little chipset set up so that it'll flicker like lightning. So that'll be pretty awesome. So that's coming. But I figured it'd be cool to get a real preview of what it might actually look like. So this is all KeyShot 9 using their GPU renderer and the denoise filter, so it really sharpens up pretty quickly. It's pretty cool. So I think if I just, like this area I just adjusted, so I think if I just hit BPR, oh wait, shit, I did not tell it to send it to, oh I did, okay, derp. Hopefully I didn't screw anything up. I left the settings there. Alright. Alright, cancel import. Unpause. Hello. Let's try this again. Did I just create, oh no! Did I just create a break in the space-time continuum? So try to restore program. Okay, let's try this again. Are we good there? Okay, and let's go again. Wait, no, it's rendering here. Stop. Okay. KeyShot send. Okay, I think it sent it. Yeah, it's going. Why is it missing the other part? What happened? Might just need a second to process. I don't know. What's going on? Come on. I know you can do it. What? Here we go. Weird. Looks like some parts are completely different material. That's weird. It's like they have a texture assigned to them or something, but I don't think I have any texture assigned to any of these things. Odd. Well, copy material. You paste material that way? No? Alright. Okay, I took it all. Cool. There we go. Alright. Back to normal. That was weird. Alright, anyway, there you can see now it updated this whole area. Which is sweet. Yeah, I should do this more often. I just don't. I don't know. Just really haven't needed to render anything for a while, so I'm also learning Unreal, so then I'm just doing stuff in there. Anyway. Fun stuff. We'll keep going at it. But for now, I'll pause. And which one am I going here? And go this way. Bring that back off screen. All right, there we go. Second stream of scene with you. Pretty decent sculpt and crap base. No idea what to do about it. Did you happen to address how you approach on doing bases in previous streams? You mean the base I have right now? This just came up out of a desire to have it look like God rays, like beams of light kind of coming down from the clouds. And I figured it sort of made a logical sense to do it kind of in a, pyramid-like kind of setup. But yeah, I don't really have a certain way to approach bases. I really don't do a lot of them, honestly. I just do a lot of freestanding figures. I've done a few bases, here and there, which are usually just flat little discs or slightly raised, shelved, kind of like slightly lofted and then flat bases. Or maybe I'll do like like still like kind of like almost like a wood carved, like again lofted sort of brim, and then some like detail for the environment for the character, whether it's like a forest ground or rocky terrain or whatever the environment might be that they would be standing in, or that would be signature for their brand, or that you're for their existence. That's basically all I would do, typically, if you want to do a base. But I don't know, I don't think there's any tremendous set standards other than the boring kind of stuff we see that are with a lot of figures, which are just black little squares or circles, which are fine. They're clean, they're very like nice looking, but after a while it kind of gets older. It's like, I don't know, I'd like to see something different, something a little bit more creative, something a little bit more integral to the design too. So till savory sculpting sooner. What? Good afternoon, Daniel. How are things in the De León world? They're very De León-y. They're okay. I'm surviving. My leg is healing slowly. I'll try lowering this a little bit. I'm raising it a little bit. And let me take care of my chair here. I feel like I'm a little low in the camera. Alright, there we go. Anyway, let's get back to this. So Dougie, how are you? The $7,000 PC is just a tax write-off for business purposes. The IRS doesn't need to know you could do this with an Android and PC. Use it strictly for gaming. Hilarious. Yeah, except I don't even game with this. I do a game on this a little bit actually, but not a lot at all. It's hilarious. Is KeyShot one of the reasons I'll need a $7,000 PC? No, you don't need a this is not a $7,000 PC. I'll just tell you that. It's not cheap. It's not $7,000. It's close. Not quite. Of course, I think every year it's just every month or so things come down a little bit. Yeah, Marmoset is awesome. Comics legend for sure. Yeah, Marmoset's cool. I was talking with a friend, and we were just reminiscing or lamenting how we can't go see movies. And we were talking about ones we were excited about. And some I'm looking forward to are... I like horror. I like good horror, which is rare, I think. I don't think there's a lot of great horror movies out there. I think in the last couple of years we've gotten some, maybe a slightly increased number of them, but I feel like it's still not like a regular thing. A lot of horror movies kind of suck. But one that I really enjoyed in the past were the Conjuring movies. I thought those were pretty scary. Those were pretty good. And then, because they're also, the first ones are based on a true story, aren't they? At least the first one is. I think, yeah, a lot of them are based on true events. But another one I'm looking forward to, though, is this one called Antlers. And I've kind of been associated with a bunch of different people who've worked on it. And it looks good. And they keep saying that the creature design is pretty freaky. Kind of has like a Wendigo-esque kind of look to it, if you know what the Wendigo look like. If you guys have played the game Until Dawn, you'll definitely know what they look like. Well, that's a version of them, of course. They all have slightly different looks. It kind of looks like that. I don't really know what it looks like because I haven't seen the design outright. But anyway, it just looks really cool. And I think it looks pretty intense. It looks good. A Quiet Place 2. Another great... it's lumped into horror, but it's more like thriller. Like really dark, intense thriller horror, I guess. I don't know. It's not really horror exactly. But I mean as a compliment. Like it has a different lean. It's not just you could say it's a monster movie or alienish monster movie, but I think it has unique elements to it that just make it feel different, unique. And then Tenet. I love Christopher Nolan's work overall, and Tenet looks pretty good. Definitely excited to see that. And I see Mr. Washington, John David Washington, right? Denzel's son. I'm really stoked to see him really, spread his wings in the action, adventure, drama genre. I know he was in Klansman too. Black Klansman? Is that? I haven't seen it yet, but I heard it's really good. I want to see that too. That's obviously, I think that's on Amazon or something, so I should just rent it. But anyway. Just trying to figure out the billow, kind of get the small lumps here to flow into the bigger clumpiness of the clouds, the chunkiness. What are you moaning about, Ein? What's going on? My corgi's making noises. Noises of displeasure, disapproval. The corginess is not happy. He's disapproving of, I don't know, sounds he's hearing outside, maybe. What's up, buddy? What's wrong? What's up? Hi. Dude, it's okay. Relax. I don't know if you guys can hear that. He's like very disapproval. He's just got this disapproval sound. No, it's not okay. What, Ein? What's up? What do you want me, your master and slave, to do? I feel like I'm more the slave than the master. He orders me around and I do what he wants. Hi, you want more treats? Okay, one more. You're sitting up pretty. Good boy. Who's sitting up very pretty? Who's our good boy? Foul. Here you go. There you go. Alright, no more. You're gonna get fat. Alright. What did I miss? Nothing. Cool. Alright. Sorry, this is the underside of the sculpture, not very exciting. But this will probably show through a bit in the clear resin when it prints, so I should probably try to touch it up a bit. I'm going to DynaMesh a lot of this together, but I'm also going to break it up into parts, because the size I'm going for, I think in general, like this, like, probably about like that much. This whole side will be one piece, and then about the same, like that side will be one piece. And then the top, I'll see if I can fit that all into one piece or not. Probably not, we'll see. But that'll be one piece, maybe two pieces that'll contain this top portion. And then the centerpiece, of course, will be as much as I can one piece. So Mufasa and maybe some of these clouds, you know. So I'll have to figure out a way to have them kind of interlock and have a nice way to like rest inside the other pieces. So it'll kind of be like a puzzle. So the centerpiece will be one big chunk, and that'll rest inside these pieces, which will have to be laid down first. So you probably lay down like your left and right pieces first, and then put this centerpiece in with him, and then the top back portion or portions will be the completing of the top part, and then the base will probably be, I guess, 2 or 3 pieces, maybe 4 pieces altogether, because it's going to be big. Probably 4 pieces around there. Yeah. Yeah, if I divide it there. Yeah. I'm trying to touch out that bottom part when I'm not on stream, so it doesn't bore the life out of anybody, because it's really not that fun to watch. I'm just going to be doing more of these kind of clouds, these sort of like, I forget what the Mamantis, there we go. I used to know that and I forgot. Mamantis clouds is the name of these kind of clouds. If you look up Mamantis clouds, they look freaky. It's sort of like a really foreboding, beautiful yet kind of creepy looking, eerie sort of form of clouds. They hang kind of low, and they're like all these kind of bulbous shapes that kind of dip into the atmosphere, into our lower end. Pretty cool stuff. The dog knows that you're terrible at math. One more. It's not 6 more treats. Yep, he's got the power of the puppy eyes. The puppy whines. Ah. Ah. Yep, he's my child. He's my big baby. Alright, I'm just gonna change this up. I was listening to stuff on my phone. I feel like we need a new word for our cell phones. I mean, they are, but like, how many of us really? I mean, we use the internet and social media and other things so much more than talking on our phones. I mean, I definitely send voice messages here and there and whatnot, and I call my folks. You know, we talk on the phone, but like actual calls on the phone, it's like a small percentage, right? Compared to like everything else we do on the phone. It's nuts. Like, we do so much more. They're just small laptops, even laptop. Like, I don't use a laptop anymore. I have a Wacom Cintiq, the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro. It's not really a laptop. I mean, when you think laptop, you think clamshell, right? You think that. But this one's just it's like a tablet, right? I guess tablet PC. I guess that's what it should be called. But that just brings up other bad memories of horrible PCs from back in the day. If you guys have ever used tablet PCs, they typically suck. They're horrible. But Wacom's Mobile Studio Pro is anything but that. It's pretty awesome. It's its own beast. Alright, so just putting on some good old Paul Oakenfold. If anybody would like to listen along, here's the link. And also, I was for do this at the end, I should probably do this now. If anybody would like to follow along on social media and they're not following me already, please do. I'm trying to get some numbers up. It'd be nice to get a bigger following on Instagram. So this is me on Instagram. And I mean, that's the primary spot where you can find me. Twitter. I don't do really a lot of unique stuff, and I retweet some things I find interesting or whatever, but that's about it. But you can find me at Lion Arts. And if anyone feels compelled, which I hope they do, here is a digital tip jar to help those of us who are starving artists in the world. If you feel like donating anything, I appreciate it. If you don't, you're all dead to me. No, it's okay. We're not friends anymore. It's all good. So yeah, if anybody's got any questions, please feel free to ask. Take this as a chance to get some teaching, some pointers. If I can't answer it, I will. I mean, there's definitely not. I don't know everything. I mean, there's certain things I may not be that experienced with still. But you know, I'll do what I can. Not exactly the master that Paul Gabry is, but you know, we try. I learned under him and many others, which is what got me more skilled quickly. I was lucky to be working at ZBrush workshops back in the day at the time, so I was privy to just a ton of really talented artists and technicians, engineers, I don't know what you want to call them, because there's the whole, they're all artists, but some are more technical than others. But yeah, really just helped me accelerate my own learning. Sorry, like everybody's hitting me up right now. What the heck? Sorry, it's just a work thing. All right. Not sure I like that. I kind of want it. Wow, too strong. if anyone's listening along, but right around the 6-minute mark, it's like too many vocals. I like a lot of my trance and house music and all that to be mostly non-vocal, or, you know, if the voices are used like instruments more than like singing whole ballads. That's my preference. And this guy's coming on here and just doing his thing. Anyway. Let's keep going. I wonder if Vasquez is out there or not. He's usually on most of my streams, but maybe he doesn't know about today's time. I'm liking this flow a lot better now. Just trying to get these shapes up. It's like anything. I think there's like there's a breaking point, or like a moment where you kind of start to get the feel for something, and then it just starts to click, and it feels like that's finally happening now with the clouds. I don't know. And I guess it just comes from a lot of time and observation like anything else, but clouds has been this weird thing for me. I mean, I haven't done a lot of it, but I mean, the first time I was ever asked to sculpt clouds was with this project, was on Lion King. I had never been asked to sculpt clouds, or never really thought about it. You know, I mean, here and there it's crossed my mind for certain things, but I always was like, if I want to render clouds, obviously I'm not going to sculpt them. I want to simulate them. You know, use like volumetric. You know, what do they call them? VDBs. The volumetric database kind of stuff, you know, like point clouds, all that kind of stuff. Things that really just simulated, when you rendered it, they look like actual volumetric clouds, not sculptural. But for this project, that's what they needed, as a container for Houdini to kind of populate it. And that's why I was brought into Sculpt. Just didn't have enough time in the end, unfortunately. They brought me in kind of sort of from nothing in the end, unfortunately, but they really liked the storyboards I created, and the mesh I had was, you know, beyond this in a sense, and they liked it. It's just, they were like, damn, we love it, just don't have time to implement it in the end. So it was just a kind of like this was awesome, thanks for helping us out, bummer we can't we can't render it now. It's like, okay, crap, poop. But such is life. Happens to a lot of artists on a lot of movies, unfortunately. You do some work you're really excited about and you're proud of, and you're stoked to see it implemented, and then, no, sorry, it's getting cut from the movie, or we can't do it in time, or there's no budget, or whatever. Trying to get a little bit more definition in here. Zucifer, what's up? It's my friend Zusa. So, Cookie Crumbs, thank you. You're cool. No, you look cool. To quote our friend Keanu, you're breathtaking. No, you're breathtaking. Love Keanu. The dude's awesome. It's just, I don't know. It's looking weird. The slash brush is looking weird in Sculptris Pro, so I'm going to do a quick DynaMesh. But I'm going to quick save before that, so nothing gets too weird. Pardon me as I munch on some cereal. Alright. I remember correctly, I think this is huge compared to the floor, and that grid is how you know how big your DynaMesh will be or how small, and this probably needs to be at 72 actually, so it doesn't blow up the computer. So, DynaMesh, there we go. Beautiful. Alright, smooth some of this out, turn off the floor. Wait, do I have stroke on? So I was working on ZBrush on my other machine. I'm trying to remember if this is normal for slash. I think it is, but it feels a little bit better. Yeah, it's getting there. And for those who just joined, I've got a cool little, just checking with the corgi. I got a render going here. I can update it now, so just did a little change there. Doing some KeyShot rendering just to kind of get a preview of what it'll look like when it's printed. Sup, man? LaFaz. All good. Glad I could finally catch your stream for a bit. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Zusa. Looks majestic. Thank you. I'm trying. Moise. Hello. Dude, how much did you pay for the Matrix panel? Hilarious. It wasn't cheap, but it's all different parts put together. The poster itself was the most expensive one because it's rare. I think they only made like 300 of them or something, and it's like a foil lithograph thing. So I found that on eBay. It was several $100, like a lot for a poster. But it's beautiful, and it was mint, so hard to complain about that. And then the frame, I think, was probably just like 200 or so. It's like a really nice snap frame, so you can just pull out the acrylic panel that covers it, and then it's just like all the black flaps just are hinged with springs. It's really super nice. Just unlock it, put whatever you want in, put it back together. It's so easy. And then behind it, I have lights that I bought that are Christmas lights that you hang from trees normally or wherever. Kind of like those, sort of like icicle lights, but like way longer, like 2 feet long or something. And there's a whole bunch of them that are just affixed to the back so that they show through and they create the raining code look. So, yeah. So altogether, many hundreds, I guess. So good luck finding one on eBay, though. They're rare. But if you find one, get it. All right. Excuse me. I'm liking this. I might just have to fix this area here a little bit. These areas look a little funky, but I'm liking it. It's getting there. Yeah, this needs something. I don't know. Maybe it's just some more little bulbous kind of clouds. I don't know. Or maybe just deeper. Maybe cutting in deeper like it is here on the left. Maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't want them to look too similar. I want everything to be a beautiful, natural, asymmetrical. Yeah, it's going to look cool when it's done, though. I love being able to do things like this, like to be able just to quickly render products like that, because it's just so cool to like kind of get a... It just realizes it for you more, you know what I mean? Like it's one thing just to even sculpt something you see in your head and then see it take form in ZBrush, but then it's another thing to see it rendered realistically, and then a whole other thing to be like, wow, I'm holding it, like it's real. This is wild. Alright, maybe I'm going to do a little inflate here. Oh, and I figured out, from those who were with me last stream, I figured out what was going on with my tablet finally. It's just a driver issue. I just needed to, I think I also need to update Windows, and then I need to update the drivers, and now everything's sorted. Thank God. Because that was super frustrating. I was having keys stick, for those wondering what I'm talking about. Last stream I had a lot of keys sticking, like it would alternate, and you always have to use Alt, Control, and Shift in tandem, and one after the other or around each other with ZBrush. And anyway, it kept holding one down or not allowing me to press two but not the third. It was just really irritating. So I had to use my keyboard instead of using the face buttons on this Cintiq here that I'm using. But thankfully, I figured it out after some experimentation and lamenting, searching. But That's usually how I get about things when I have a problem with something. I kind of learn to, I get pissed and then I get focused and just being like, I'm going to fix the shit out of this thing. I'm going to repair the hell out of that thing. It's going to be better than ever. I do that with door frames. I do that with software, technical problems, whatever. I'm like, all right, if we can't fix it, then if someone else can't fix it, I'm going to do it and figure it out. Typically don't give up. Might have to cave for a day, but then I'll come back at it stronger the next day and eventually annihilate it. Or find another solution. So you added some new bubblegum and duct tape to your Wacom driver and it's now fixed. Exactly. That's all I did was digital baling wire and duct tape. Some bubblegum and a Q-tip. And I MacGyvered it into working submissively. Yes, no. I don't know what I'm saying. No, I just downloaded the drivers and updated Windows and here we are. I guess kind of standard stuff, but the problems were unique and weird in that I thought I had the most updated drivers, and it didn't even say I needed to update anything. Normally it tells you right away, but yeah, it was just weird. It was definitely not a normal problem. Like I never had that issue with my Wacom tablet ever, with any previous tablet either. So that was what made it really weird. Was that it was having this button stick. Yeah, coming together here. Coming together. All right. I think I'm getting happy with that. Pardon me. Was up super late last night. Slept on the couch, rolled off the couch, walked the corgi, came back to bed, and then slept in big time. So I'm like, this is my first real amount of speech today. So clearing the pipes out. I'm sorry. So I basically was a mute until until I started talking on here. Didn't have any phone calls, didn't do any voice to text. Oh no, I maybe did one or two voice to text, but you know. Does anyone else do that? I often do voice to text whenever I text people. If my hands are busy or I just really don't want to be like typing up a long message, I'll just either send a voice message like straight through the phone, you know, not like a voice call, not like calling and leaving voicemail, but like you can send a straight voice message or just do voice to text because it's faster and easier. Also, when you forget to spell a certain word and it's a really weird spelling, you're like, how do you just, and then you just say it and you're like, oh yeah, duh, that's how you spell it, or whatever. I'm pretty good with that, actually. I have a pretty good track record with the English language and spelling. I was always pretty good at spelling, but there's certain words where you're just like, like someone else was posting this, another artist on Facebook, they were like, I will never be able to spell diarrhea properly. And I'm like, dude, why is it such a weird word? It's such a weird word to spell. It's not, it doesn't, your brain doesn't like, it doesn't I don't know. For me, anyway, it's the same problem. I'm just like, diarrhea is such a weird word to spell. Sorry, I know it's like blue humor or whatever, but I'm 12 sometimes, so deal with it. It's a weird word, right? Spelling wise. Would you simp for Pixologic? What? Just a joke on. Maybe consider applying a hard noise filter to the clouds and smoothing it out after. Yeah, I've thought about that. I did use that in some areas briefly. Yeah, I kind of did that up here. But it still looks kind of weird. I don't know. But that's high noise that's like high frequency detail. That's after the fact. So I want to get the big shapes first and then, you know, big to small. Damn, Daniel. Yeah, it's finally finally gelling, right? It's finally like kind of feeling like it's all flowing together better. I'm gonna save this now just in case. You think it's important to learn anatomy for sculpting? I see a lot of high-level artists who never studied anatomy. Yeah, do I think it's important? Sure, yeah, absolutely. I was forced to study a lot of anatomy because of my medical background, so I really didn't have a choice. But yeah, I feel pretty good about my anatomy. At least, you know, I won't name every muscle. It's not all like super dense. I have the big ones in my head, but major areas. But you know, when you talk about like all this fine different muscles, like in your forearm leading into your phalanges, or you know, complex muscles in the leg, to know every single name is really irrelevant to your job as an artist. It's way more important just to know how they should look, right, and how the muscles deform and bone over, you know. So knowing those landmarks and knowing where certain things should be, that's where it's most important. And speaking of which, my Cupid Psyche pieces, if anyone's judging them on that, don't, because they're not at all done. The anatomy is kind of going to be refined after the poses are locked in, and excuse me. And that's just, you know, it's detail work. You know, it helps really make something sing, but it's sort of after everything's done. At least after a lot of it's, you know, a lot of work is established. So yeah, but yeah, of course, anatomy is important. I mean, just understanding how muscles and bones work in general, especially for creatures, whether you're doing a human or doing animals, whatever. Yeah, super important. And just having that knowledge of just wrapping your brain around the way, you know, certain forms flow and how there's a certain rigidity and yet softness to them, you know. And something I see a lot of artists do that the other extreme is they might know anatomy really well. They might be great anatomists, but then they just go and do that whole comic book thing, you know, where it's like every muscle is tight and it's all just like ultra defined everywhere, and it looks like, you know, as if someone were having some sort of like seizure or a mass like convulsion or something, where every muscle is just like, and it kind of looks ridiculous. I mean, I get it for superheroes, that's what people like or whatever, but I'm more impressed when you can see someone's grip, their grasp of soft tissue and fat and muscle and imperfection, asymmetry, that kind of stuff. I think that's more impressive when you're looking at anatomical details. And subtle skin details too. And not, I mean, of course, we got like the amazing Chris Costa and other people who do like the pore detail that's nuts. And I think he has it all down. I think he really does. But you don't have to go that far even, I think, to create an impressive sculpture. Just having a good knowledge of the way, like I said, the planes and how the shapes and forms flow. Even look at like a statue of David, Michelangelo. You don't have pore detail in there, but you still have a beautiful knowledge of the way the body and the muscles flow and how posture will display certain tissue. and it's still very soft, very gentle, you know, like a romanticized, almost like if you put like a really bloom filter, you know, on something, you smooth everything out, but it still has this gorgeous flow. I'm still impressed by that too. I think that that's a sign of a master sculptor and somebody who really knows how to, you know, convey some great emotion and ideas through anatomy. But I think a lot of digital artists don't have that ability, or they haven't chose to take that approach, you know. That's also more classical art. That's not production art, you know. You don't often have the luxury of creating all those elements for production art, you know. If you're doing your own personal stuff, then you have time. But so it always depends on like what you're doing and who for and budget, time, all that good stuff. And I think this one, oh no, it was the other one. All right. Still on the same one there. Okay. Yeah, looking good. All right, this is the one that I think I did yeah, Sculptris Pro on, and I probably want to DynaMesh this too. Kind of just putting on the transparency to look through here and see where they're intersecting, because they're going to have to be fused together. Just to see what else I got to work with. What is that? Lulik 09. Thank you. Appreciate the kind words. What am I hiding under the hat? I'm hiding a bad hair day, dude, because I woke up late, so I didn't have time to like comb the beast, to tame the beast. I'm hiding messy hair is what I'm hiding. Who doesn't do the same thing, man? It's like when you got a messy hair day, just throw on a hat. Simple, easy. Takes care of the problem. Rather than like spending what feels like a waste of time in the bathroom, in the mirror, combing and water. Or if you don't have time for a shower, if you don't have time to hop in the shower, just throw on a hat. So I know that this is, it's impossible to make this look perfect from all angles, I guess, because I'm probably going to have to, I might close this off in the end. I might like kind of bring this down into, from the front, it'll look like a small spiral that'll end somewhere right like back here, higher up. I'm going to be bringing in some more clouds, I think, in the background here. That'll curve up this way. So the circle ends sort of right here. So I got to add some more of these. Excuse me, I might just actually duplicate these, flip them upside down, and have them fill in down here. But still, just looking at from... So it'll look okay from the back, but I mean, obviously you won't be able to see anything except just bulbous clouds. So it'll basically be something you can mostly observe from the side and all the way around. But still, I feel like anything, just like the side or the rear end of a car, well, it's not the first thing everyone's seen, unless we're behind the car, obviously. In this case, I still want to give some attention and some love to the rear form to just have it look as nice on this end as it does on the front presentation. There's one thing I've learned too, is you just don't slack just because it's maybe not the most exciting aspect of something. You don't skimp on the details, especially with something like this, a real object, something that will be a real object. is going to be able to be viewed from every angle, so just try and do your best to have it look decent from every angle. Of course, doesn't mean you have to have as much insane attention to detail, but still should definitely give it some TLC. I don't even go outside that much. Isn't the role in 3D as long as nobody sees it? F it. Yeah, sort of. I mean, definitely for production. If you're not, yeah, if no one's ever going to see something, yeah, who cares? It doesn't matter as long as it just functions. But in this case, since someone will be able to, you know, someone will have this on their desk, you'll be seeing it this way if you're sitting at your desk, but then someone walking into your office is going to see this. You're going to see the back end. So still want it to look presentable, you know. Probably put like my info in the clouds back here, you know, like sculpted by, whatever, designed on, blah, 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 blah. Still debating if I want to put like the Lion King logo in the back here, emboss it kind of, so that when light passes through, you sort of see it through the prism. But I'm not sure how much that'll deform to the point where it may not be worth it. I might just leave it empty with just the lightning kind of going through. But we'll see. And this one is not DynaMesh. I'm going to do that now because I don't know. There's some things that are great with Sculptris Pro, and right now it works here and there. But for this, but maybe I'm not doing something right either. I don't know. But just DynaMesh this super quick. There we go. Don't take a seat, you're fired. Nice, Dougie. Nice. But what if it's an employee you really like and they're coming down? They're like, but sir. Wasn't that a line of Zazu, right, in the original Lion King? But sir. Zazu. Scar. Drop him. Bleh. Impeccable timing, Your Majesty. Got that movie memorized. Who doesn't have that movie memorized? I mean, so many people grew up around my generation. We all have watched that thing like so many times. Hey, buddy. Back for more? No more treats for now. All right, lay down. Gonna get fat. The best doggo was a plump doggo. Yeah, well, not when their joints are hurting them. He's got arthritis, so plump doggo is not the kind of doggo he needs to be now. He needs to be a lighter doggo, actually. I've also been trying to figure out some other solutions for his arthritis. Poor guy's He's hurting, so I'm trying to keep him well fed, but not too well fed. See, again, I'm not an expert on Sculptris Pro. I think it's just a great way to keep, if you want to infinitely extend and experiment, it's just a faster way, kind of a more real-time way of having your polygons be sort of semi-optimized, kind of, and adding and tessellating as you're going, rather than stopping and re-dynameshing, which takes more time to process. I guess that's the gist. That's what I gather from it so much. But again, I haven't really been extensively using Sculptris Pro, so I'm not going to claim to be the expert in that department. So that being said, if someone else has a better explanation or counter to that, then by all means. But yeah, Sculptris Pro it's cool, because it just allows you to really, experiment and add and remove geometry quickly. But right now I'm just sort of like, I'm kind of liking DynaMesh a little bit more for this. You can see here the uniform density, it's pretty intense, and this is only 500,000? Yeah. You're an animal advocate, right? Yeah, of course, man. I love animals. I advocate for them to be treated well. Pardon me. So how do you decide when something is done? Re-dynameshing is also destructive. Yeah, it is destructive in that sense. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You're re-dynameshing the entirety of something, while with Sculptris Pro, you're only editing geometry locally wherever your brush is hitting. You're only testimating there. Or I guess you can disable and enable testimation, but I always just leave testimation on. When you decide something's done, I mean, it's done when either it's reached a certain level of the look you want, the detail you want. It's really a personal thing. So, I mean, if you're asking when I personally decide, or you mean you as in me specifically, or do you mean you as generic, you like anybody, any artist? Because it's such a particular, personal thing. I mean, if it's like for production, it's done when the art directors or the director's happy and they're like, that's what we wanted. Cool, thank you. Knock it up to whoever, whether you're doing texturing, then you do texturing after that or whatever, or during, or knock it over to animation and rigging and let them take care of it from here. So it always depends on who's evaluating it and for what reasons, So done is whenever you want it to be done, I guess, but when you're happy with something. Like when you're happy with, like this, I was finally happy with the flow of this, so now I'm moving on to the bigger chunk, and then get back up to here. So that's where I'm kind of, making calls and kind of deciding what I'm liking and what I'm not. Yep, very fitting indeed. You got it. Yeah, I actually haven't made a line until this, so ironically. Other than drawing some for my logo back in the day, before I kind of just let it go for a while, just left the words, line arts be there. I'm constantly reminded about where our solar system and our galaxy and how everything is always in motion now because of this one song that Paul Confoot's been playing a lot that I actually bought because I liked it enough. It's called The Multiverse, and it speaks. I think they have. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's that great Japanese futurist and professor, doctor, and I can't think of his name right now, unfortunately, but I believe he's the one they used a voice sample from, and he talks in the song about if the Earth moves around the sun, and the sun moves around with the Milky Way, I think is what he says, just past. What does the galaxy move around? And it's like the answer is a black hole. Or does the sun move around? It's a black hole. I keep thinking about the fact that we're all moving around. The Milky Way is moving around a black hole. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. It's just the size of things is so incomprehensible. Like the scale of the universe, it's bananas. Just how tiny and insignificant we seem. Sorry, I just butchered the outline, but it's like, yeah, the Earth moves around the sun moves around what? You know, it's like our galaxy swirls around a black hole. It's crazy. Multi-pass. Circular cycles, like a toilet with the flush handle permanently tapped, running forever. Yeah, such an elegant way of putting it, Dougie. We're in a giant swirly forever. Yeah, exactly. Move. That's what he said. So the moon moves around the Earth moves around the sun. What does the sun move around? The sun moves around a black hole. Yeah, wild. But yeah, I mean, it's like you enter the black hole. It's like I guess we all assume you just get crushed by gravity, just imploded, elongated like a piece of spaghetti, and then sucked it down into whatever the core of a black hole is. Watch Inception Interstellar for the answer. I love Interstellar though. It's definitely one of my favorite movies ever. Huh. Is there any erase brush in ZBrush that you can use to erase the curve but not completely? So I'm not really sure what you mean by erase the curve. You mean your curve stroke? Are you talking about when you have a curve on your brush? Like curve mode like this, and you do something like this? Is that what you're referring to? Dougie, that's great. That's funny. Keep the density but remove curve. I'm not sure what you mean by curve though, buddy. Keep the density but remove the curve. I mean, are you just talking about smoothing something? So like here, this is pretty dense mesh-wise, and I'm just holding shift and then smoothing, and it's reducing the curve, right? So if the curve was out here, oh, I gotta turn off the curve mode on my brush now. There we go. So for instance, if the curve was, the curvature of this cloud was like out here, and I hold shift, and then I brush on it, it's going to reduce that curve, so to speak, if I'm thinking the way you're asking. And it's bringing down that curve without changing the mesh density at all. The mesh is the same point count, it's just being softened. But not with smooth. That's why I said if there's an erase brush for it. Yeah, I mean, erase doesn't really make sense exactly. I mean, if you're looking for like a gradation, then between, so like say you pull out your, struggle with density and reduction. So if you have like a curve like this and you want it to be lesser, what you would want to do maybe also is, here's another option. You could, there's a bunch of different choices now. There's a new feature too. You can do the history brush, but we could also do, the very early simple one is just doing a morph target. So, say store morph target right here. And then you get your, you do your adjustments. So let's say you have this curve out there, but you're like, oh, I want it a little bit less. You can take your morph brush, which is right here. And then this will bring it back to the save state of where it was before, but that's really harsh. So what you can do is reduce your Z strength. And then you can gently, you can gently reduce it back to where it was. I'll probably bring it even lower. See right here now, I'm just softly morphing it back to where it was. So this would be the closest thing to an erase, I guess, in the term you're thinking. That's the only way I can think of. I mean, otherwise, if you're talking about density, if you're talking about like mesh density, then you want to just decimate eventually, I guess. I mean, if that's what you're asking about, just point count and, you know, reducing your poly count. Sure, you're welcome. Hope it helped. You know, it's just the phrasing of erase is just a weird, it's a strange term for this because it's not really like, you're not like you're drawing something you can't undo or you can't smooth out. Does have tilt, and I've never felt any difference in using ZBrush. Do you think tilt serves any? I don't think tilt serves any purpose in ZBrush. As far as I'm aware, I don't think there is any tilt awareness in ZBrush for your Wacom stylus or any other stylus that may have tilt on it. Mine has tilt too, but I never have noticed any significant difference with tilt. I think tilt is more for a calligraphy, if I'm not mistaken. Like if you're doing more calligraphic kind of writing, you know, that kind of illustration, I think that's where tilt would play a role. I don't think in 3D that there's really, as far as I'm aware, maybe there is, but I don't think there's any sort of use, or at least not any known significant signage to tilt function. That just looks gross for some reason. Alright, well, this is looking good. Getting happier with this. I'm finally glad to be enjoying this instead of just feeling like pain every time I've been working on the clouds on this thing. It's just been a long road of trying to get back to somewhere I'm happy with. I mean, I was happier with what I delivered when I was at MPC with this thing, but having no access to those files after I worked there, you know, it's par for the course with any studio. You know, it's their property. So It's been a long road in trying to get something that I'm happy with. So I'm kind of glad this is finally taking that form again. True and more Photoshop. Yeah, maybe Substance. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if Substance uses I don't know if it uses tilt at all. Haven't really looked into that for that either. Because typically with Substance, it's just texture painting and normal map painting and that kind of thing. Height map, other maps. Yeah, I don't really think of it in a calligraphy kind of sense. But yeah, maybe there's some other advantage. I don't know. Not sure. I've got to keep upping my skills in Substance. I'm also looking more now into, I'm going to have to be learning more in Mixer, which is, yeah, Mixer and, yeah, that's the primary one now from Quixel, just to mess with their, I shouldn't say mess with, but I mean to edit their Megascans, which I've been downloading a ton of. There's so many awesome scans and Megascans now, it's incredible. But one thing they do not have scans of, that you can't do photogrammetry of, at least not that I've seen, not really well, is clouds. You can't really, because they're a volumetric, gaseous kind of thing, you know, they're fluid in the air, so the closest thing you get is doing a volumetric clouds. That'd be cool though if Megascans, you know, would go around that by, I guess, just, you know, looking at photos of real clouds and then creating VDBs of those real clouds, like as matching them as close as they could. That'd be awesome if they would release files like that as a solution to having that. And something else they need to do, I don't know if they have an agreement with SpeedTree or what, but that's the other thing they're lacking is just trees. And I'm surprised they haven't come out with anything yet. They don't really have any tree. They have like stumps and they have like tree trunks, but not full trees on there yet, unfortunately. So I think I picked up a Brushify pack that has some trees in there and other things that should be good enough for my needs, but yeah. Is anyone else using Megascans and Unreal at all yet and dabbling with all that? It's pretty cool stuff, pretty amazing, really. Pretty exciting, to put it lightly. $600 gigabytes of scans. Dang, dude. Yeah, I was downloading a ton too, but mostly just for my needs, so I wasn't going to go too crazy. But there's so much good stuff on there. Yeah, I just want to download the entire library. Use Eris. I think ZBrush 2021 is going to be awesome. That's all I'm allowed to say. I think it'll be awesome. That's all I can say. I don't know if it'll replace Marvelous Designer, but Marvelous Designer is, you know, I think there'll be some competition, and it will definitely remove the need for some people. But I think it depends on what your needs are, you know. And it's still in development, so we'll see. You know, it'll only get better from what you've seen, I'm sure. So I think time will tell, but I am confident that it'll be extremely useful regardless. And but yeah, if it pulls away business from Marvelous Designer, oh well. Good for ZBrush, bad for Marvelous D. They should they should not do their subscription package. I mean, they can, but I think they should. I don't know. Do they still have? I think they still have a. You can still purchase it, right? Or is it only only going to be subscription after? I think it's. I forgot because I have Marvelous Designer 9.5, and I think they said to 10 after 10 or 11, then they're not offering a perpetual license anymore, something like that. I forget. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like it when stuff's just subscription only. I think that you should give people the choice if they want to pay a decent amount. You know, a few grand, a grand or two is like, I think the max that most average consumers, even prosumers, would want to spend on software. Unless you're going to get a tremendous amount of value out of whatever they're buying that's more than $2,000. You know, I think that's kind of pushing it for software then, as far as typical stuff. You know, and I know Maya's trying to do that now too, where they're going to be charging a certain amount every year, so you always have a new version of Maya. And it's like, yeah, you kind of get that value in a sense, because everyone uses Maya so much. If you pay like 1,900 or 1,600 or 2,000 something once a year for the software, I get it, but it's still pretty irritating. It's like, what if you don't want to have to upgrade for 2 or 3 years? You know, what if you just want to stay with the same, you know, $2,000 software for like 5 years? You know, really get a lot of value out of it. Nope, you're gonna have to subscribe or you can't access it. That's just lame. I hate that. So maybe that's where, you know, maybe ZBrush 2021 will take away some of that pain for people with Marvelous Designer, and then maybe Blender will be filling in the gap for Maya eventually, if Autodesk is just going to be pushy with having everybody have to subscribe by 2021 or 2022. I don't know. We'll see. But it seems like people are demanding a little bit more flexibility, and they don't want to be, you know, roughed up to down to use software that they need to use, but maybe don't, you know, make tons of money off of all the time. Created in 3D using voxel simulator particle dynamics. Yeah, totally, Dougie. I mean, that's what Houdini's for, really. Xfinity called that day. What? Official ZBrush 21. Doesn't see it. Yeah. Can we just skip to September already? It's like maintenance license, yeah. Yeah, all this stuff with just trying to milk people. I mean, I get it from a business standpoint, but for the consumer, it's just really irritating. But, you know, companies got to stay afloat. They've got to figure out ways to maintain, you know, income, support people's salaries. But yeah, I think some things maybe they're just not sustainable. You know, maybe that's just how it is. I agree, Dougie. I wouldn't mind paying a few hundred either for an upgrade. I think that's fair. I can't imagine how they can survive by just giving everybody free upgrades all the time. Yeah, I think if you own a license, like a few $100 is totally fair. I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. Because they've given away every version for free. If you bought one version, you get the next one, the upgrade free forever after that so far, and it's been amazing. So I can't imagine how sustainable that can be over time. I don't know. But somehow they've done it, and it's incredible. People love it. I mean, I've definitely loved it. It's been pretty cool. let's send this back over, see how it looks. It's not a dramatic change, but something. Oh, I have it paused. Oops. All right. And stop rendering there. Send it back over. I want my clothes brushes, cloth brushes. There's no way I can afford 300. I can barely eat. Okay, so here we are with the update. Overall, I'm really liking that. Yeah, it's looking good. I'm liking the way that this whole, because as you've seen, if you know, like these are all, it's like one mesh, 2, 3, and then the fourth up here is not detailed yet at all. But yeah, I'm liking that flow. It's just, it feels natural. It's looking good. KeyShot like Marmoset, in some ways now, because they have a GPU processor and denoiser, so it updates in real time. You know, like this is all real time rendering right now. I have an RTX 2080 Ti too, so that's helping a lot with all this heavy lifting. So that's why it's taking millions of polys and just, you know, doing a pretty kick-ass job relatively quickly. Netherlands are beautiful, right? And that whole area, that whole region is gorgeous. Uzeris, you're asking how long I've been using ZBrush. I started getting serious with it around 2013, 2012, 2013, I think. So, you know, what are those, like 7-ish years? Thank you. Gra3. Sorry, I had to lean in there because it's a blue background for the chat, and then your lettering is blue, so it's like really hard to see what your username is. Thanks, dude. Appreciate the kind words. I think KeyShot offers a lot better rendering than Marmoset. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I have Marmoset. I really don't use it that much. I should, but we'll see. All right, I'm gonna pause that and get back to the sculpt. We've got another 20-ish minutes left in the stream, and if anyone would like me to stick around longer, I can. It's interesting. It seems like the majority of the watchers are on Twitch, interestingly enough, and only 14 on YouTube today. Huh. Yeah, I keep saying I'm gonna get on Twitch. I need to. All right, I'm just gonna read DynaMesh here. Well, actually, I don't think I need to just yet. I mean, nothing's really being stretched. So, random question for everybody out there. Has anybody seen this older British show? Do I prefer sculpting with Sculptris Pro or DynaMesh? I mean, I've used both, but I'm more familiar with DynaMesh, I guess. So that's probably why I lean toward that. I was using Sculptris Pro earlier, but it was just it was tessellating and opening up the pixels a little too much, and it just, I don't know, it wasn't really giving me exactly what I wanted. Maybe I need to tweak some of the settings. I know there's a lot of different settings you can tweak with it, but I didn't want to waste the stream time figuring out different settings, so I'll mess with that later off stream and probably get back to using it next time. But what I was going to ask was, has anyone seen the British show Utopia from back in like 2013 or 2014? I recently started rewatching it. I watched the first episode years ago, and a buddy of mine, a boyfriend of a roommate of mine, former roommate, back when I had roommates, her boyfriend was telling me, dude, you gotta watch the show. It's smart, it's different. I think you'll like it. Because I think I was lamenting just how many crappy shows were out, and that just wasn't a lot like Breaking Bad or like Westworld. Although I think Westworld needs to be improved a bit. I think it was such a mixed bag this last season, in my opinion. But there's some really cool ideas in Westworld and some really lame ones. But anyway, so he recommended I check out Utopia, and so I did, and I'm hooked. I remember watching the first episode, and I was like really intrigued, but I just got busy and I forgot about it somehow. But now, with all this time we have and flexibility, I've been trying to watch some shows while I work on different projects, and that one has definitely sucked me back in. And I know they didn't make a third season, but now apparently I found out just from being interested in the show again that they're going to be remaking it as an American version with John Cusack and some other big actors, and it's going to be on Amazon. I think later this year or next year. I don't remember exactly. I just remember seeing some ads about it on IMDb. If you just look up Utopia. So if it's anything like the original show, which I hope it's similar. I mean, it's hard to really imitate, real inspiration and do it well. I feel like that's where you have a lot of missteps with remakes, is when they try to go too much exactly like the original, or they don't bring back the right elements anyway. They ruin it. it's such a hard line to walk, remakes. I don't think it's typical that something like The Office gets remade from the British version and it's even more successful as the American version. That's rare, I feel. It feels like a lot of times, like books and with everything else, people usually like the originals better. And I kind of like the American version of The Office better. They're both different, though. But I haven't watched all of Gervais's original Office, but I watched a bunch, and it's pretty funny. But I guess probably because my initial exposure was to the Steve Carell version that I'm, more endeared to that one. But they're both decent. The American one's my favorite. But anyway, Utopia is good. It's pretty cool. It's if you like dark, semi-violent. I mean, it's violent, but it's not like rampant violent. If you like a thriller, mystery, whodunit kind of romp across the UK, and it has some really relevant stuff that they play with in there too, with like government conspiracies and a virus or supposed virus, and how they play. I'm like, wow, like some of the parallels and or ideas that they're playing with and to our reality right now, it was like super relevant. I was like, wow, that's freaky how someone else thought of the same playbook, essentially, of ways you can politicize, you know, and weaponize a viral outbreak or the fear of one, and all kinds of, yeah, it's really intriguing, very smart, very intriguing stuff. So you can tell the guys who wrote it were thinking ahead, man. They were really, they had some brilliant, interesting ideas. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen Utopia. Would you ever use ZRemesher for retopology, or use a conventional way of Maya or 3D programs? Well, I mean, ZRemesher is pretty good, and you can edit topology pretty well now in ZBrush with ZModeler, the ZModeler toolbrush. And now, you just saw with the 2021 version coming out, they're going to let you finally do what I wish they would have let us do for a long time, which is great. It's they're allowing you to extrude from planes, so you can immediately just quad draw like you would in any other software now. So really, if you want to do retopology, you don't have to go anywhere else but in ZBrush, you know. It's a little bit more of a headache right now with ZRemesher or with the ZModeler toolbrush in certain areas. But yeah, I mean, if I had to do retopology, I would probably do it right now in maybe a mixture between Maya and ZBrush. If I had to do it fast and it was for production, and you know, but you can do a lot in ZBrush with the ZModeler toolbrush with this guy. I can't do it on this DynaMesh. Like this, none of this mesh is really good for that to show you really. But if you learn the ZModeler toolbrush, which is there's not much of a learning curve really. I mean, it might seem intimidating, but it's really not. You can pick it up within an afternoon. I've got to say, it's a pretty powerful brush. And I hate to say brush because it's almost like it's a mode. Really, it's not just a brush. It's just like a menu essentially. It lets you edit topology. So anyway. But yeah, so retopology would be done in a combination of software, perhaps. But it depends what you need to, because you can do so much quick topology editing in ZBrush now. One thing I do wish that Pixologic would implement is like my roller wheel for zooming, because I can do it in KeyShot, but I can't do it here. I still have to click Alt and or press Alt and click. All right. So one thing I'm not liking here that you'll see that we do subconsciously as humans is how there's a lot of symmetry or similarity. So like this cloud's circumference is about the same as this one, bulge, and this one's a little bit bigger, but then these four are almost identical, and I'm just subconsciously, my brain is kind of making like an egg carton or something. I don't know. It's kind of annoying because it's like it shouldn't look so just like an egg carton askew, but that's exactly what it kind of has turned into here, and that's not good. It should look more like this stuff over here. But as I'm just sort of zoning in and zoning out, sort of as I'm working on this, I'm realizing like, this is too much, just like a little, you know, just cross-hatched cookie cutter kind of thing. So it's time to shake it up here and merge some of this stuff together, and I don't know, let's figure this out quick. So anyway, sorry, let's go back here. Really started watching Fargo on Netflix. It's amazing, must watch. All right, 8.4 rating on IMDb. Utopia seems good. Yeah, Utopia is good, dude. It's really good. You should definitely check it out. It's on YouTube. You can watch. I found all the episodes so far. At least I'm on season 1 still, but I'm on like the 4th or 5th episode, and it's all on YouTube. You just got to find it. Just type in Utopia S01E02, like just almost all together. Utopia space, you know. Then everything else is like one word, and you should find it. It's one with subtitles, like hard, you know, burned into the video, but who cares? It's like they're very small. It's another language. I'm not sure which language they have subtitles on, but it's irrelevant. It's all in English, so if you understand English, you'll be good. Stuff, because so much of the charm remakes is nostalgia, and everyone kind of has a different view of what elements made the original great. Yeah, I hear you. What took you the longest learning ZBrush? Like what aspect? What's the best way to smooth out a plane without leaving potholes? If anything, we humans are good at pattern recognition. Exactly. We are pattern recognition machines. That's what we are. We're like, that's what we're most astute at. Yeah. So what took me the longest to learn is ZBrush? It's hard to say now, really, because I feel like I just learned so much of the fundamentals just all at once, just stacking them. Because that was also my that was my introduction into 3D. So much of my exposure to just learning, understanding, wrapping my brain around UVs and 3D in general, all of that was just all lumped together, you know, as the foundation for learning ZBrush. So I don't know. I can't say there's one thing that I'm like, oh, that was such a hard thing to learn. I don't know. There's not one thing that comes to mind where I'm just like, oh my god, that was the thing. Because I know it so well now. I mean, as far as just how to use it and what I need to use it for, that I don't think of one thing and it's like the hardest for me to learn. I'm trying to think. I mean, I could say like learning how to animate in it was a little weird because it's not really meant for that. You can, but it's just really rudimentary. But I was learning some of that, and that was kind of weird. What else? Because there's certain things that aren't hard to learn. It's just you need to learn to take advantage of them sometimes, like morph target. Maybe layers. Maybe layers was another thing that was kind of like, it took me a while to wrap my brain around it. Like how you can use layers, and there's probably areas there I'm still a little weak in, to be honest. Could probably improve that understanding a little bit and just how they translate into blend shapes. And I mean, I know how to do that in general, but I just feel like there's still, it's like you might feel like there's think of like a boat, and you think there might be some holes. You feel like there might be some holes because you see a little water on the surface of the boat, but the reality is maybe just the ocean has splashed water in there and it's just hanging out. There's no leaks. I feel like that's sort of where my knowledge is with layers. Like I know most of it, but there's still little areas where I'm like, do I know how to do that, or do I know how to do everything in there, or are there a few things I'm missing still that I feel like I probably don't fully understand, or maybe I do and I just don't know that I, you know what I mean? I don't know that I do know it. I don't know how that makes sense, but you think you understand how certain things work, but then maybe there's certain things that you can change or tweak that you didn't know that you didn't know. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know. I just probably need to like go through a little crash course in layers again, just to make sure that I'm fully comfortable with it. But I mean, I understand how to add layers and different, blend shapes for faces, or basic adjustments to meshes, where you can think of layers as like tiered, stacked morph targets. Essentially, it's a lot of what they're like. It's cool. Layers are awesome. But yeah, I think that was one of the last things I kind of wrapped my brain around. The ZModeler tool brush is incredible because you have so many different options. You hold over a see there, I try to use my roll wheel again, scroll wheel. So if you hold over, we just zoom in here. Like if you hold over a point, you get a point menu, right? You hold over a poly or an edge, you get an edge menu. And then you hold over a poly, you get a poly menu. And then there's the target. Then there's your action. And then there's the sub menus for those actions and modifiers. So you have a lot of options, right? So that was challenging. I think that was just like, a bit to learn. And again, I haven't used every single aspect of the ZModeler tool brush because I haven't needed to. So there'll be times where I'll be like, how do I do this? And then I Google it, or I'll check it out on Z Classroom, and they'll be like, oh wow, didn't realize you could do that, or I wanted to learn how to do that. Something else interesting that was, I guess you could say a challenge, maybe not a challenge, but yeah, a little bit, would be this guy. So the Gizmo was great. The Gizmo itself wasn't the challenge, but sorry, it's DJ that follow Polo Control talks way too much in between each song. So then you got your gear here, and in here you've got all kinds of other options too. So here's a whole other menu that's just dedicated to connection to the Gizmo. And I haven't used all of these at all either. But like you've got your bend curve here, that's something I have used a lot. And even though I've used this a lot, I've used only a few functions in it repeatedly. So again, there's certain things I forget how you can do certain elements in here and others you can't, because it's just so much and there's not a need to know all this. But it's essentially a lattice tool. So if you ever use a lattice tool in Maya, you've seen that. It's very similar. It does basically the same thing. You add points here to create a higher density or lower density lattice, essentially. And you can then dictate, of course, where they all go, what axes they are on. So I wanted to do this. Let's say I wanted to warp this whole cloud, right? I could easily just grab this point and then whoop, sort of blob it around. It's pretty awesome. So that's something that, you know, it took a little bit of time to kind of wrap my brain around just to see how that would work. You know, and you got all these other controls here. You can make it fatter, you can get skinnier, and, you know, different axes. So it's like that kind of stuff. Again, just there's so much depth and subtle placement of certain menus. You know, it really kind of makes it challenging. You know, there's definitely areas here where it's like, never really utilized that much. So it kind of creates for you know, some interesting things, interesting challenges and learning curves. So. Yeah, so I mean, anyway, it's a long answer to saying there's certain areas that are a little bit more challenging than others, and certain things I probably don't know everything about, but I don't know one thing that was the hardest to learn. Or the longest to learn. What's the best way to smooth out a plane without leaving potholes? If you want to smooth out a plane, I would say the fastest way, if you just want something flat and it's a plane, let me quick save quick, and then I will show you on a plane. I'll deform a plane and then flatten it out for you. It's pretty simple. There's a couple ways, like anything in ZBrush. All right. So you got this plane. I've got double on. Wait, make poly mesh. All right. Don't have double on here, so I'll turn on double so we can see both sides. So let's say you've subdivide up a couple times. And so we'll just create something that looks like terrain, right? So whatever you're unhappy with, and you want to smooth it out quick, right? Well, go to your level sub D. All right, hold Control Shift, get your clip curve brush out, and holding Shift and Spacebar, you bring it down to where you want it to be flat. Let go, blam, almost perfect. I think because I got some depth in there, so you can see there's a little bit. So this is one way of doing it. I'll try again. Again, Control Shift and then Shift Spacebar, blam. So now you can't even see it because it's pixel, not even a pixel, less than a pixel. And oh, are we getting sticking again? What's going on? All right. And so here we go. So that's flattened it. Oh no, are those problems returning? Really? Are we getting this again? So wait, it wasn't the drivers. Why is it starting now? Same shit that happened before. Damn it. Really? All right, now I'm getting pissed. I thought I fixed this problem. Shit. So I mean, this is one way. It's just, you know, it's a quick and dirty way, but it's a way that works if you just want to flatten out a plane. Of course, your geometry here's a little confuzzled. You could hold Shift and kind of let go, and then let it kind of smooth out that way too, and that'll help. There you go. So, you know, now we got a flat plane again. Of course, areas here are a little jagged on other axes, but that's one way. Another way would be, if we go back here to when it was raised, you bring out your transpose line. And I always forget which direction this is. There we go. So that's another way of really quickly flattening it. So again, undo. If my freaking thing would work. I don't know why it's... Oh my god. Now I'm pissed because I thought I fixed this. Okay. So let's say you draw out your transpose line from any point here, but that's where you want it to be flattened. You click on that line where you clicked first, and then just drag up. in the opposite direction, and then it's flat. So that's another quick way to flatten a plane. I think those are the only two main ways I can think of right now if you just want to flatten a plane from being deformed. Oh, it's smooth out though. Sorry, smooth out. Sorry, that's not flattened. Smooth out. So if you want to smooth out, without potholes. I'm not sure what you mean though with smooth out without leaving potholes. I mean just holding shift and painting over it. Going to, you know, you could do like shift. You could do smooth, smooth valleys, I guess. Right. So if you go to brush, and you go to your smooth options, which are here. You got smooth, or we got smooth valleys somewhere in here, right? Yeah, here. Okay, so if you guys haven't seen this before, so we add a whole bunch of just need more high frequency detail. So carve in here a little bit. All right, so that's your terrain. Now we got hold shift and we got smooth valleys on. So now it's going to primarily bring the lower ends up to the higher peaks. You can almost think of it as like a high tide rising. So this is one way to smooth out something that's not leaving potholes, because you're eliminating the pits, right, the inner side, but you're leaving the peaks kind of where they are. So that's another way of doing it. So I don't know. Let me know if that answers your question for you. Hopefully that gives you some solution. Get back to Mufasa. No. Sorry, what else did I miss in here? Reducing resolution of a mesh is it easiest to iron out a plane. Reducing resolution, yeah, that helps. I mean, for sure. And basically anything, any gross, large changes you want to make to a mesh, if you have a subdivision lower, go to its lowest and make those changes there, or at least a couple lower than where you're at. That'll let you adjust large areas quickly. Like a deformer. ZBrush is avoiding the feeling that you need to learn everything ZBrush can do before feeling comfortable just sculpting. Yeah, that's true. Use Eris, no problem, dude. Love it, man. Super quick, yeah. If you want to draw in 3D, how do you do it? Do you think ZBrush will be used in product design as an industry standard? Well, it already is used as an industry standard in product design, man. I mean, when it comes to action figures or collectibles or toys or, you know, anything cool sculpted that's like printed and purchased or molded, it was 99.9% sure it was modeled in ZBrush. You know, this was a raptor head that I made, and I've done a bunch of work for other companies with dinos and other creatures and whatnot. Yeah, it's definitely an industry standard now, man. If you had to learn just like 2 or 3 programs to be hireable, I mean, just learn modeling, right? Sculpting, digital modeling, sculpting in ZBrush. Maybe learn just a handful of modeling and texturing or UV techniques. I should say UV techniques, really, at this point. And some modeling in Maya. And then if you wanted to do like actual texturing, Substance Painter. Excuse me, and if you just want to function as just like a product designer there, learn KeyShot quickly, right? That's it. I mean, that's all you really got to learn. That stuff. I mean, that would be the beginning point. Of course, Photoshop would be a good idea too, just in case, just for some basic, you know, presentation elements. But that's where I would say your best bet is to learn for product design. But yeah, product design, ZBrush is a standard in product design for sure. It just depends what kind of product you're talking about. You know, if you're talking about high-end engineering, this is a sculpting package. It's not meant to be like Fusion 360 or something else. It's not meant to be super technical. I mean, you can get pretty technical with it if you want, as far as like shapes defined at a certain, you know, exactly certain scale. You can do that. It's probably not the most elegant way to model things to scale, but you can still very easily, in a rather artist-friendly way, create, you know, bounding boxes and whatnot that will designate, you know, the boundaries of your object, so that allows you to, you know, adhere to strict design heights or widths, or, you know, whatever you want to do. It's just, yeah, but it's not an engineering package. I wouldn't put it in the same category as Fusion 360 or SolidWorks or anything like that. So what else? So you're asking, how would you, if you want to draw in 3D, how'd you do it? I'm not sure what you mean by draw. You mean like draw like in Photoshop? I mean, you could subdivide a plane up really high to like 1 million, 3 million, 10 million polys, and then just poly paint on it, and then export that texture out. I mean, that could be a way to draw. If you wanted to just draw, you could do that. It's a really weird way of doing it, though. I'd be like just going to Photoshop, you know. So I'm not sure what you mean by just draw. If you just mean texture paint, I mean, you can just draw. You can make like a image like that. It's just a really weird way of doing it. Also marvelous designer for fancy clothes. Yeah, if you want to, yeah, exactly. Yeah, other software you want to learn. But what about hard surfaces with dimensions, CAD? Yeah, like outlines. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, if you want to do that, like I said, you could create outlines with that technique I'm talking about. It's a weird way of doing it, but you could do that. I would say it makes more sense to create an image, bring that in with image plane or in Spotlight, and bring it in that way, and then use that as a way to model something. Hard surface wise, yeah, I mean, if you could do box modeling in ZBrush now. Yeah, Spotlight is I always get these names confused. There's Spotlight, Lightbox, something light, box, spot, box, light. I forget everything. I always misname things. But yeah, if you wanted to do like I was doing that for the shield a few streams ago. So like, let's say you wanted to bring in, I don't know, we could just use one of the textures they have in here. I'm going to turn on here, and here we are. Yeah, Spotlight. So then here you go. So now you got your image in here. Let's say you wanted to, you know, use this as a guide for something, you know. You could easily bring in a mesh, lock your camera, blast your drawing onto that, project it onto there. You know, you can control all of that. So we just do, where are we on here? What are we on? That, okay. This is not going to be a great example, but this is more for texturing, I guess, texture painting. The best way to draw in 3D by drawing outlines. No, that just added a crazy texture there. Because polypaint's not on. Yeah, that's right. So what I meant to do was this. There you go. But that's just transfer of textures. Just draw in 3D. That's such a I don't know. I mean, ZBrush isn't really the best for that. I mean, if you wanted to do, like I said, if you want to draw, such a strange request, but like, not to make you feel bad. I'm not trying to shame you or anything. It's just, I don't know. I've never really wanted to do that. If you just wanted to do outlines, I mean, yeah, you could just easily do it this way. So I divided up, probably way too far. Okay, please stop. There we go. Okay. So we got this mesh at 4 million, right? This is such a weird way of doing something, but there you go. That's drawing in ZBrush here. can kind of draw 3D in Shadowbox. Yeah, Shadowbox is different. That's like, it's really kind of modeling in a weird way. But yeah, I mean, this is a way you could draw, if you wanted to, I don't know, draw an outline of a car or something. You know, this is a terrible car because I'm not really trying, but, Alright, come on, this is not, freaking tablet. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, this would be a way to draw whatever you need to do. What tablet model are you using? I'm using a Companion, it's a Wacom Cintiq Companion 2, and I thought I had fixed the issues where the buttons were not sticking, but they started to do it all of a sudden, and I have no idea why. But yeah, I mean, this is the only way I could think to really draw in ZBrush the way that you're talking about. I mean, there's 2.5D, which I have not really done anything with, and I'm not sure many people use that for anything anymore. I'm sure there's a niche market out there who love creating art that way, but for anyone who's a 3D person creating any sort of drawing in ZBrush, is just, you know, it's different. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm creating a person here. I don't know. The circle and the egg, right? Do the circle and the egg. Whatever. Anyway. I don't know. Draw 3D Shadowbox. Sorry, I missed how. Did you get there? Never watched, but what tablet model are you using? Yeah, okay. There's a program called. We're just about at time, so I'm gonna get going here. Let's wrap up the questions. Tablet, 3D Paint. Draw images. Yeah. Maybe able to draw images, and what you draw converts to 3D models. From there, you just tweak it. Should look like, yeah. How do you make those outlines 3D? I mean, it's not, if you're thinking like Blender, man, it's not like Blender, where you have like the grease pen, where you can sort of extrude that out. You can't really do that in ZBrush, not directly. I mean, there's like roundabout ways you could make, you could like create a polygroup, and then inside that polygroup, then extrude that out, you know? But it's not going to be, if you want precise stuff for like box modeling, I would say you'd almost have to then bring in a cube against this plane. Where is that plane now? So, I mean, I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. I mean, there's just not. I don't know. I'm just an amoeba. I don't know. There's just not one easy way to take this and create, you know, a 3D. And let's say, I mean, if you really wanted to make that 3D, yeah, maybe Shadowbox would be the way to go. Man, I haven't used Shadowbox in forever. Honestly, I even forget how to get it started at the moment. It's been so long. I haven't had a need to use Shadowbox. Where even is Shadowbox at this point, right? God, that's embarrassing. I mean, Shadowbox would be a way to create a 3D from like 2D sort of approach where you're just going from one plane to the other, you know. It's built in the PaintShop plugin. It's actually kind of a nice 2D drawing program. Without the plane in the background. What's up, Exodus? Hide it in document tab, though. Yeah, right? I don't know. Where is it? Where is the freaking... I haven't used that. I have never used PaintShop, really, actually. Except for, like, dropping things occasionally to, like, do some texturing work. Does ZBrush support displacement maps? Yeah, it does, but it's not the best for showing them. call it to do the family thing. Thanks for sharing, Daniel. Enjoy the night. Have a great work week. Yeah, thanks, man. Take care, Dougie. KeyShot plugin. Yeah. Yeah, it is in PaintShop, right? Yeah, it's in the document. I'm gonna bail here in a second, but let's save this quick. Alrighty. Yeah, so okay, so it requires a mesh with an assigned texture or the polygon colorize mode to be used. Enable polygon colorize, sure. See, this is a whole other interface. This is ancient too. This is like old matrix. And I've never used this actually. So let's have some fun. Let's crash it. I have no idea. I've never used this before. I've never had a need to. You know, this is the kind of thing I'd be doing in Photoshop. Interesting though. Look at that. It's definitely pressure sensitive. It's using the same techniques as, or same sensitivity as ZBrush, the normal 3D part. Interesting though. This is such a top, base, charcoal. Wow. Yeah, it is like a whole little painting suite. Ink and pen, gouache. It's not really blending between them. I guess you got to do transparency. Oh no, that's just weird. Okay. Huh. We're totally going into uncharted territory here, so feel free to laugh at me all you want. I've never messed with this before. Interesting. Are these layers? What is this? Interesting. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I'm like that dog, that meme. I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah, this is definitely not my territory, but it's interesting because I've never pick up now. Sure, why not? I've never messed with PaintShop before. Unable to open file. Cool. Error. Yay. I figured something like that would happen. This is gonna like crap out. All right. Weird. So there. Yeah. Basically, it was doing what I was doing in Spotlight, though. It's just like boom, projecting texture onto the clouds. So it's using polypaint, basically. Interesting. But yeah, I mean, dude, if you want to draw and make something 3D, there's no direct way to draw in ZBrush and then just extrude those out from like a vector path. It's not like that. You'd probably want to learn how to do that from, you draw like a vector path in Illustrator or in Photoshop, I guess, and then you would import that into Maya, and from there I think you can extrude out, loft, and create, some geometry that way, like NURBS, and then maybe change them to geometry. I forget. It's not my department, honestly, so sorry. I'm not that level of a, hard surface modeler. I definitely focus more on organics. I can do hard surface for sure, but it's still within the realm of just going straight into box modeling from 3D, not just always using an image plane. I mean, you could do an image plane. That's the other way I do hard surface if I have to follow something pretty close. Image plane, bring your, cube in front of that, or your sphere, and then start pulling and pushing, or even just modeling the boxes, just forming a very rudimentary form, and then, hardening your, creasing your edges, and then subdividing, or using brain fart. The subdivision tool, what am I looking for? The words here. Dynamic subdivision, excuse me, thank you. There we go. So, doing that. But yeah, to do exactly what you're doing, it sounds like you'd want to create like a vector path and then go into Maya and then extrude out from there. So, sorry, can't really help you more. It looks like Windows 2000. Yeah, right. It's crazy. All right, guys. Well, that's my time. We are at almost 4:30 here on the East Coast or West Coast. Jeez, brain fart. I am tired. So yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for hanging out. All 70 some of you. Appreciate it. If you guys have any other questions, burning desire to communicate, you can reach me at my email, daniel@lionarts.com, or my website, which is, of course, lionarts.com. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Take care. Stay safe. Don't get the Rona. My pleasure, guys. I hope it was helpful for everyone watching. Yeah. I'll be, I forgot to find out what the next, I think the next stream I'm doing is on a Tuesday. I don't think it's this Tuesday, but I've got to start streaming more on my own. So you can find me on Twitch with the same username, Daniel Lion Arts, all one word. And YouTube, my YouTube channel is Daniel Lion Arts as well. So I'll be trying to do some streaming here more and more. I keep saying that, but I'm gonna do it. Got to start doing it more. So anyway, all right, guys, take care. Thanks a lot for hanging out, and stay well.